Today's serfs are anyone who is like kind of plugged into the matrix and like helps create data. Cloud serfs are people that like create value like a serf did on the land, and they just like give it over. Everything goes to the landlord, to the lord, and like the lord decides whether they see any more of that value. Like now, like we just produce value just by like picking up our phone, like kind of thing. We produce value and then it goes straight to the cloud list. And like I was saying last week, the devil's bargain in that scenario is like, oh, but it's convenient. Like, like I get to connect with my family on the other side of the world, or like, Amazon suggests something that I didn't even know I wanted. It knows me better than I do. Like, and then everyone's just like, that's convenient, like kind of thing. And so that's the trade-off. So you're a cloud serf if you somehow produce value that contributes back to the data collection and resource management of some type of cloud capitalist organization. That's one of the reasons why we were talking about last week that Elon Musk bought Twitter, and then turned it into X. He wanted access to more data. Like he gets it from his Tesla fleet, but like that's not enough. Like that's just the people in society who can afford to buy a Tesla, and so he can watch them as they drive around wherever they're driving their vehicles. But like he wants access to more of that. He wants people to download the app and have it on their phone, and then once you download the app, then you agree to have like kind of them access and do what they want with it, which includes going out to third parties. And that's when the third parties come in and they're allowed to kind of data mine you and like take all the information and monitor you through your phone or something like that. And then like that's the real information that has power. It's not only power because like they can sell it to other third parties, but like they can also get valuable information about what populations are doing and use that to make their own strategic decisions, political or economic, whatever, social engineering decisions, whatever they may be. But yes, cloud serfs are all of us. Including members of the capitalist class and the bourgeoisie and stuff like that. Like if they're plugged into the matrix somehow and they help provide data, then like we're all cloud serfs nowadays. At Drunk Ancestor, welcome. I don't think I've seen you. Anybody can rent a cloud service. Anybody can create a new cloud service. Anybody can buy shares in cloud technology companies. Where's the injustice? Well, it depends what you mean by injustice, I guess. That's really the only way to answer your question is, what do you mean by injustice? Like I said, people find it very convenient that these cloudalists, these techno-feudalists, whatever you want to call them, are providing services and linking people together. The point is, or the issue is that they have total control over that infrastructure. And the real question is, if you are producing value, so like let's say you go online and you produce data or something like that, whether or not you should be paid for your value. Like, if this stuff is so valuable, conglomerations and magnitudes of data from, billions of people across the planet, which is obviously very valuable because everybody, like these big companies are trying to get in on the game. This is how the tech bros wield such power. Then like, obviously this is valuable to them. And if it's valuable to them and worth so much money, then why shouldn't it not be valuable to us too? And should we, ultimately the question is, should we get a cut in that as cloud serfs if they are skimming value off us by like, us getting free apps and services and stuff like that? Should we get a cut in all of that? So the injustice is really up to you to decide there. Like no one in human history has ever pulled this amount of data before, or ever had the infrastructure possible to pull together this type of data and information on humans. Like the best that like people could do was do like censuses and stuff like that, where they'd go around and like do a head count of the population, and there'd be tax collectors and accountants that worked for state bureaucracies or like large institutional organizations that would take like tallies of the population and try and figure out demographics and information about societies and like the markets and commerce in their various like communities and stuff like that. But like no one has been able to have such understanding on the information on the individual. And that only comes about as a result of the techno infrastructure that is available because of the cloud and because of like our information technology and stuff like that. And so like it's only like it's abstract, and like it's really only allowed to do so because of telecommunications infrastructure that has developed under capitalism and has increased in its revolutionizing effect, like, you know, over the last, like, I guess 30 years or something like that. But like, you know, it's still a phenomenon that like kind of influences the way that society is structured, and it is a phenomenon that is changing our attitudes and the way that we relate to the world around us. And so like this guy is just drawing a whole bunch of correlations between techno-feudalists and like monopoly, monopsony, and like how capitalists do the exact same thing when they control markets. But like this is not just about controlling markets. This is about a change in social relations, a change therefore in the ideological framework, and then a change in the way that like people's attitudes towards society and like one another are formed, and like people's attitudes towards each other and society are changing dramatically. They've changed a lot already in the last like 20 years. And like our social relations are changing. And so like I think he needs to put more emphasis on social relations. And if Yanis Varoufakis doesn't put enough emphasis on social relations, like I think that is important. If you look at this from a historical materialist lens, okay, like the point of historical materialism is to try and understand where society is at in order to reproduce itself at any given stage in a given epoch. And so like the social relations are what does that, like who produces the value, and then like what type of social relations fit together to try and reproduce that value that everyone lives off as a society. Now, if like society is so industrialized today that like a lot of that value is kind of catered for by like automated processes, machines, and et cetera, and like our social relations are changing to kind of reflect that, and it's predicated less and less on like the relationship between capital and labor, and now it's just about controlling the consumer class, and the consumer class is all encompassing. Like a Cloud Serf could be anyone, even members of the bourgeoisie. It could be like anyone that has access to a phone. Like you can go anywhere in the third world and they might not have running water and stuff like that, but they'll have phones. I'll tell you that much for free. They have in smartphones. And so like, you know, everyone is helping to reproduce or to produce value that is consumed by techno-feudalists. That is a massive change in our social relations. And if Yanis doesn't talk about this too much, then like that's Yanis's problem. But like this guy doesn't talk about the social relation at all. He talked about Cloud Serfs once, and like since then he's just been talking about like how the cloudalists or the techno-feudalists practice same business tactics as the capitalists, which is a fair point. He's not wrong, but I haven't really heard him talk about the social relations at all, which is stunning, because like the claim is what killed capitalism, and capitalism is a mode of production predicated on very particular social relations. And so like where's the analysis of the social relations?
Remember, I am, you are, we are a mystery.
I am on Patreon. Please follow the link in the description and sign up for free. We are trying to build a revolutionary community over there. So go become a member for free and join the conversation. If you can contribute financially, that would help a lot.